The Russian Mafia cured my autism. I was in a bad place, hopeless, directionless, and full of uncharacteristic rage. But when I started learning about them, I fell in love, not gonna lie. Not with their crimes, but with the code. It was the essence of it that when I learned it, it validated the rejection that I had felt all my life, the mindset that formed from it, and also helped me to clarify how I would go about living my life from that point on. Now, when I say they cured my autism, I mean the lessons that I extracted from them helped me to change my mindset and subsequently the way I experience my life. No therapy, self-love, or communication skill building did that for me. So maybe this will help you too. Disclaimer, I don't support criminal activity. I don't endorse it, and I'm not about that life. I get anxiety about double parking, so trust. I'm not organized crime material. And this video is not meant to romanticize or endorse it either. That being said, I don't endorse or support unethical activity of any kind, whether that's a criminal network or something that's supposed to be official. You know, it's the same to me. Okay, we got that out the way. Let's go. My name is SanJaunYT, and I help people with ADHD turn their differences into advantages by drawing on lessons learned from the history and culture of the Caucasus. So subscribe if that's you. You're a little bit different, or if you just want to learn more about the Caucasus. All right, let's go. Number one, official systems can be corrupt and oppressive, and you don't have to go along with it. Now, I'm not going to go too deep onto the history of the vory, zakone, or thieves-in-law, which is what I'm referring to when I say Russian Mafia. I'm making an entire series about them that starts next week, so you can just watch those videos to understand who they were. But basically, they created their own society and world outside of official and conventional systems. They just rejected society. And they they were criminals either way, but they viewed themselves as being like the only truth tellers in a world full of deceit and lies. And they weren't wrong. Like, it was in the Soviet Union. That was quite oppressive. And they came out of the Tsarist era. So that was oppressive. The Bolshevik, like, it was just crazy. So they had a legitimate reason and ended up becoming, at least in the beginning, a very trusted organization by even ordinary people because of just how bad the official governing bodies were. Now, that resonated with me because growing up with autism, I was rejected by typical social atmospheres. I didn't understand why people were fake, like why they smiled in people's faces and did things behind their back. I didn't even understand how they could actually do that. You know, like, lying created a visceral response in me where it made it very difficult for me to do it. So I didn't understand that. Yet people were making friends and they had friendships. And even through my teenage years, I didn't get it. Through my young adult year, I didn't get it. And so I would tell the truth, and that caused me to be rejected. So not understanding that and being pushed to the outside, I ended up wanting to act like legit, having a whole plan on how I would go to college and do this. I wanted to work in like the underworld for the government. I wanted to work for the CIA, clandestine services, do off the books missions. I wanted to be like elite in the underworld, but the legal underworld, possibly because it seemed like it had order to me and it was something ethical. We're not going into that topic of discussion, that rabbit hole. But that's why when I learned about the three thieves-in-law, it resonated with my life specifically. But now that I'm older, I realize I don't have to go to the underworld to have a life that's aligned with how I am, but I can make the distinction between cultural values. So I can adopt other cultural practices, which is what I was doing. I'm doing through the Caucasus. So I can live within those frameworks and thrive. I can do my own thing. Number two, don't tolerate disrespect. Also, be respectful. The thieves-in-law, they were notorious and just Soviet-style people anyways, specifically the men. They're not going for disrespect. Like in the Western world, in America, people cuss other people out, honk their horns all the time, or just put up the finger, just mad disrespectful, and they be getting away with it. But if you mess with a Soviet-style person, or specifically a vory, like a vor or just a criminal like that's on that kind of time, oh no, 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 you go out there with the no, we're not doing that. You say anything about somebody's mother. In the US, and like in English, we have mother effer. You say that to one of them, you getting slapped, you getting beat up, you good. Yeah, it's not going like that. Now, I'm not saying like, oh, that should always be the case, but I do think that a lot of people are way too comfortable with being disrespectful. And they need to be put in their place. So I actually respected that. Was it excessive at times? Yes, but I got the point. And it also showed me I don't have to accept disrespect. Now, I'm not going around beating people up, but I don't have to stay in a place or around people who are disrespecting me. Don't destroy your reputation and your standing by allowing for that. I don't have to be respectful and accept disrespect. I can be respectful and only accept respect back. Thirdly is delusional confidence. Now, this is born out of the idea that the thieves-in-law were truth tellers. So if they're true, if they're moving with integrity, then what's the problem? To explain this better, I'm going to tell you something about Georgia. In 2008, Russia invaded Georgia, and specifically the city of Vory. And basically, Georgia lost that war. Yet, people were confused. Specifically, Russians were confused because Georgians were still celebrating. Why were they celebrating? Because they won a battle of sorts. They ended up getting a number of Russian invaders, and they were happy about it. In their minds, they won the battle, they won the war, whatever. Meanwhile, Russia won that war, but you couldn't tell them anything. And because you couldn't tell them anything, the win wasn't really all that great, you know? And the lesson to be learned from that is that if you celebrate your wins, if you are so confident in your integrity that you're like, what's the problem? Like, I'm doing this, I did this, people are angry, what's the problem? I'm true, I have integrity. What's the problem? I'm winning either way. No one can tell you anything. No one can tell you that you lost. No one can tell you that you're not all that. No one can tell you. They can try to tell you, but you're just not going to accept it. Because in your mind, your delusional mind, you are all that. You're the winner. Connected to that is number 4, be solid and follow through. Basically, have integrity. Have a code that you live by. Stick to it. And when push comes to shove, your reputation precedes you. And in the thieves-in-law, reputation was everything. Like a vor was crowned a vor based on his reputation. He got put through tests, he was in real world situations, and he was scrutinized heavily and watched to make sure that he was basically refined by the fire, that nothing was going to stop him from living with the integrity of the vor code. They were very strict about their code and their rules, and there were strict consequences to it. And in my own life, and in your own life, you can be confident and rest easy if you know that you're living to the code. Which leads us to number 5, rules and order. Now, like I said, the vory, they had codes, okay? They lived by them. For me, with my autism, I needed the things to make sense. Social situations confused me. A lot of stuff confused me because it was so nuanced. And the crazy thing is, I could see the nuance, but for some reason, I couldn't actually use it. I don't know how to really describe that. I couldn't do it or, capitalize on it, but I understood it way better than a lot of people. Like, I could understand people very well, yet I myself had difficulty connecting with them. So I needed rules and order, which is why I wanted to work in the underworld for, the government and everything like that, because in my mind, there are rules and order. There are things to be done. It's clear cut. Like, there is no like emotions. I was very emotional. Don't get me wrong. I'm very emotional, but I need clear cut understandings of things and things to be solid and to make sense. Like, I need this to be stable. And in the thieves world, their code was solid up until a certain point, but their code largely was pretty solid. There were consequences you knew, just stick to the code and you're good. Number 6, community, reciprocity, and family. Now, the thieves, they were different. When I say they rejected conventional values and things, they literally did. They rejected family. Okay, the brotherhood was their other thieves, criminals were their family. The prison was their home. So I'm not that extreme, but the way they operated makes perfect sense to me. They had something called an obshack, which was basically a communal fund. They would steal things and it had to go into the obshack, right? And the obshack was to support each other, especially if they were in prison. They didn't do things just for themselves. Actually, that would get them into trouble. I always wanted connection. I would put in a lot and not expect the same amount. I would be okay with getting very little while giving so much. But when I started learning about the thieves-in-law, it made sense. Like, wait, no, I would give these people value, but be scared to open my mouth and ask for something. The thieves taught me, number one, value your family, value your community, value your people. Do not your people dirty. And number two, you give a lot and also expect to receive a lot. And the difference between that and greed is that greed is when you want to take more than you're actually putting in. But if you're putting in a lot, ask, and it should be there. Your community should be providing for you. And if the community that you're in is not like that, then babes, find a different community. Number 7, the thieves-in-law taught me that I'm not a man. Shocker, right? How I grew up, women were expected to be very argumentative, aggressive, hostile, literally, like physically fight in addition to every other kind of fighting, and to be both mom and dad, but primarily have the personality of what you would think a dad is, like be hard, be tough, all of that. And I had to defend myself against people like this growing up. I was beaten on growing up. So I was like taught and told like I was too soft, too nice, yada yada. I need to toughen up and be like a man. And the thieves-in-law taught me that I'm not. Number one, they taught me that because like I don't want the responsibilities that come with them for being a man. I don't want it. I don't want that. So I'm happy I'm a woman because I don't have that expectation on me. But also number two, I could relax. And actually this goes beyond the thieves-in-law culture and more into the Caucasus cultures. But I was like, I'm a woman. I can be soft. I can be gentle. I can relax. I can be nurturing. And that doesn't prevent me from pursuing what I want to pursue or doing what I want to do. Now, even with me saying those words, it sounds like I want to be like a boss. That's so cringy, even trying to say that. But like, oh, I'm a career woman. Like, I'm not that kind of person. Like, I want a career, but I believe that family is more valuable than a career. And that's also a part of integrity. Like, if I'm wholly who I am, then I don't need to be worrying about anything. And lastly, number 8, the thieves-in-law taught me to trust God, not man, and not myself. Myself, I'm nuanced. People are nuanced. We change up. We don't make sense. We don't even understand ourselves. We can't even see our own backsides. So why should we put our trusts in any criminal code, really? Why should we put our trusts in any government or any king or any leader or whatever, any social network or anything like that? Not that you can't like rely on them sometimes, but to put your entire faith, your heart deeply into any of these things is crazy because they changed. In the vory, their code changed. How they operated and how they moved, it changed over time. What was once stable and solid went through chaos. I actually respect the essence of what they did. Learning about them helped me out a lot, and I know that's kind of like a crazy connection, but they really did help me out. Okay, so if that resonated with you, if you liked it, let me know by dropping a like, subscribe, and a comment. And also, this was just a short list. I'm actually making a guide for people with ADHD, or if you're just a misfit, that creates a Caucasus framework for you to actually have a mindset and life change, just like I have. So if you're interested in that, the link to sign up for the wait list is in the description and the pinned comment, and you'll be notified immediately when it's available. All right, go ahead and subscribe and be ready to learn about the thieves-in-law of zakone next week. All right, peace.